Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. It's a beautiful Monday morning. Today is June 9th, 2025. We get together with our distribution partners and others most weekday mornings at this time, 8 o'clock Central, to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. And the background of my shared screen is the landing page template. I want to make sure that everyone has their landing page up and operational. If you have questions about that, we can cover that after today's topic. But the landing page, it's not required, but it is probably the most effective tool that you can use, because if what we're going to do is go out and educate people about how to qualify for funding, then we need somewhere to drive them to. We need a good, clear call to action. And the landing page works really well because it captures their data, puts them into a drip marketing sequence, and gives them multiple exposures. So we have a very high conversion rate. But that's not our topic today. That's just the background. Here in the inset, we have our agenda. And so we start today like we started most mornings recently, clarifying that underlying principle that has to be consistently understood with you, with us, and with clients, that the number one rule for getting funding, business funding, is we need to have a fundable business. So we can't just wish for it. We can't just pray for it. We can't just hope for it. If we don't qualify for funding, business funding, we're not going to get it. That's the problem that most of these people have that you're going to help. So they may think what they need is funding, but truthfully, what they need is to have a fundable business, because without a fundable business, we're never going to be able to get the business funding. Now, things became a lot easier back on June 1st. Last week, we announced on our Zoom training on the 2nd. You can go back and see past Zoom trainings on our YouTube channel. The grant was amended where now the grant pays for the Shelf Corp up front. So, in other words, the participant does not have to pay for the Shelf Corp. In the old model, the legacy model, the earlier iteration, people would have to pay for the Shelf Corp and then they would be reimbursed. That's still a good deal, but it's even better now. So, if you're not successful enrolling clients now, I don't know that can get any better. But regardless, we are able to deliver the Shelf Corps to clients in about 7 days, and I believe that we're 100% compliant with that at this time. We just sent out a whole bunch of Shelf Corps this morning, in fact. Our agenda today is to keep it simple, and there's more to it than that, but simply put, I want to maybe encourage each of you to not overcomplicate your role. And a lot of you well, you're all very smart and very motivated, but I think that you're poisoning your own well. You're making it more complicated than it needs to be. And the end result is you're less financially successful as a reseller than what you could be or should be. And I'll describe what I mean by that as we proceed. So let's start with what we do, and then we're going to next talk about what you do, because I sometimes am concerned that some of you don't understand what you do. But let's start with us because we're collaborating here, right? So as a 501c3 nonprofit, through the grant we received, our first mandate is to help improve financial literacy. I know you're smart, you're motivated, you know how financial topics operate, perform, the rules, the regulations. But a lot of our prospective clients, they're not as sophisticated as you. They're not as financially literate as you. So we need to educate them. And it really starts, it doesn't end with, but it starts with this very simple principle. If you want business funding, you need to have a fundable business. Do you have a fundable business now, sir or ma'am? Most of them don't even know what that means, so they can't give you a good answer. But we need to start with financial literacy. And then, secondly, We provide. And so we can either build a fundable business, a custom build for them, but that's less popular because that takes time and effort from the participant, whereby most want us to just provide a fundable business entity to them in about a week. And that's what we do with the Express Shelf Corps. So this is what we do. We help improve financial literacy and help them become fundable and then resulting in accessing funding. So let's then address what you do, because this is really the heart of the topic today. Can any of you take a moment and maybe type into the Q&A, which is like a chat function, in one sentence or maybe as brief as a phrase, what is it that you do in our business model? So we have 526 of you on. So Amanda and Anthony and Bernard and Bilal, so many of you. If you could just type in your opinion, in your words, in a sentence or a phrase, what is it that you do? What is your role in this? So Amanda said, educate. Well, certainly educate's fine, but if we don't sell Shelf Corps, you make no money. So yes, it would be very admirable for you, Amanda, and everyone else just to go out and educate, but education alone is not going to generate any income. If you look at how you're paid, are you paid to educate? Technically, no. You're paid based upon selling express shelf corporations. So the first thing that you do is you sell express shelf corporations. The second thing you do, wait, it's the same thing. There's only one thing that you do. There's only one thing. So, do you, through our model, do you help clients get funding? No. Do you implement? No. Do you provide customer service when they buy an Express Shelf Corp? No. All you do is sell Express Shelf Corps. Well, why is that so important? Well, what did we say? If you don't have a fundable business, we're not going to get business funding. We can train and support you very well to do this. If we change this to also include you being responsible for the funding, that would require a lot more training, support, and prep. That's not your role. Now, you get paid off of it, granted. I know you get paid 5% of the client's capital raise for each person you refer in. So, yes, you're paid off of it, but it's not your job. So, I have some of you that'll state things like, well, I need to better understand it. My gosh, what do you need to understand? If you are a reseller, we have sent you the implementation packet. If you don't have it, let us know and we can resend it again. I'll give you the support text line momentarily. And the agreement is very clear what they're getting. Here are the deliverables that they get. And 100% of the time, we should be able to provide them those deliverables in about a week. So it's not like, well, I need to make sure it works. Well, fine, then buy an Express Shelf Corp because that's your role. Remember, there's two different phases. Let me go ahead and add to that so it makes sense. So there are two phases of implementation. The first is to provide a fundable business, and that's typically through an Express Shelf Corp. Once they have that, then a separate and distinct step is to get funding. Now, some people would say, well, why don't we just go right to funding? Sure, if they have a fundable business, we can go right to funding, but most of them don't. I've shown you how we can go ahead and someone that tells you they're fundable, we can go right to funding. We can skip number one. It's just normally that's not what's needed. What's normally needed is they need a fundable business. So there's two phases. Let's even put it numerically. You're frankly only involved with the first. Now you're paid off the second, granted, you're paid off both, but you're not responsible for number two. You're not involved with it. It's not the training, it's not the support. You sell the Shelf Corp, and then we can do a great job on the back end. And I think if you assimilate that, and like Corinthian likes to say, stay in your own lane, you'll help more people, you'll make more money, and you'll be less frustrated. I was talking to a gentleman this morning, and he's like, well, I can't really go sell an Express Shelf Corp because I don't understand it. It should not be very difficult. If you look at the packet we sent you, which of course we've covered on prior trainings, there's a flyer that describes it. There's a comparison sheet that helps the prospect compare options, ours, yours and mine versus others. And then there's the agreement in black and white. If you can just read that, I don't know that there's anything else that you need. Now, again, I know the client ultimately wants the funding, but here's an analogy I use, and I know you may not like it, but I think it's relevant. If you go into a car dealership, you're going to walk around the lot and find a car with the car salesman. And then do you work with the car salesman on the financial topics? Normally not. I know there could be exceptions, but normally not. You work with the finance team, the F&I, finance and insurance director, they commonly call them. So if you realize that your role is this and our role is this, then you won't be so burdened and held up and not able to execute. All right, so let's move on. So, what does a reseller do? They sell Shelf Corps. That's it. So, they don't give funding advice, they don't quote interest rates. We have to have a fundable business. Again, I'm not ignorant, I'm not ignoring the fact that clients really want this, and we can take them right to this. And I can show you. So let's pull it up here. So if we go to 4weekfunding.com, if you have a client says, no, I just want funding, I don't want a Shelf Corp, you can come to 4weekfunding.com, you can scroll down. So this is the build page, by the way, right? So the Shelf Corp is the buy, the build is here, the 4-week funding program, and there's access to the loan application right here. I'll click on it even. So that's what we do if we go straight in. But let's get back to our agenda. So what do? You sell Shelf Corps. What do you not do? You're not responsible for any implementation. That's what we bring to the table. That's why we get paid our portion. And I'm 100% confident that we can deliver this fundable Shelf Corp consistent with the client agreement in the time prescribed. There should be no risk of that. Now, are there more variables during the funding process? Sure. Because how much money, how much funding do they want? What are they going to use it for? What do we need to do to make sure that they qualify for it? Yeah, so there's other moving pieces, but your role, if you keep it simple, is just number one. So you don't, see, we're on the not, you're not responsible for implementing, you're not responsible for the funding phase, and you're not responsible for the ongoing support of the client. So it's really a great gig. You're making whatever you want on the front end because you can mark up the cost of the processing fee to be whatever you want. So you're making, let's say 500,000, whatever it is you want on the front end, and then you're making 5 points in the back end by just simply doing one thing. Now, I see it's Anthony's asking about others that sell Shelf Corps. Yeah, so we can even pull it up here. So buy a Shelf Corp. So we could Google and we'll see that there are other places that sell Shelf Corps. I guess there's a bunch of these. We'll just pick one randomly here, this Wyoming one. Our proposition is so much stronger than what these others are. Now you can see that they have different states and their prices. And you might say, well, Well, because you know, from the Shelf Corp perspective, we need 499 to cover our processing cost to have the legal team get the Shelf Corp in their name. They do have some Shelf Corps that are below 1,000. Most of them are above 1,000, and so forth. So you could determine your pricing, but our value proposition is quite a bit different. So let's go back over to our notes. And so if you think about, what's included in our Shelf Corps. So number one, we're providing them a clean entity that's in their name, of course. We're providing them, of course, the EIN. Most of these folks don't provide EINs, but we do. We are providing them a commercial address. They don't have to pay for the address. The address is free for the lifetime of the business. They'll have to pay for the mail forwarding just because we're going to send the mail to them, but that's included, and that's usually not with these other models. We're providing them collateral, so they have assets on their balance sheet. These others don't. We provide them a lender compliant business plan. The competitors normally don't. We're providing them 36-month financial projections, which lenders typically need, and the others don't. So we're providing a lot more, and we're very competitive with the price. But again, the Shelf Corp is free. They're just paying the processing fee or the administrative fee, if you want. $499.99 is our part we need to get everything over into their name, and then you can mark it up if you want. Many of you are selling it for $999.99, so that gives you 500 profit up front. But again, you got to remember you're making the 5% of the capital raise. That's where the largest amount is. All right, so let's get back over to our main screen, get back to our notes. So as far as our contact information, no change there. We'll go through that and then we'll dig into your questions. So the tech support line that I mentioned earlier. So if you say, well, I don't have the flyer you talked about. I don't have that comparison sheet. I don't have the client agreement. Well, that means we've not onboarded you, or if we did, you didn't realize we did. So you can text us. If you want to get set up and you're not already, you can go to 509pacific.org. That's our 501c3 nonprofit website. We call it the grant coordinator and reseller means the same thing. We ask you to watch 2 trainings. There's no cost, not even a contract to sign. You fill this out and we'll send you the implementation packet. So you'll be open for business same day. Email, want to schedule a call. Here's where we're at now, grant coordinator. And it's the same place to actually get a Shelf Corp using the grant. And then, of course, our YouTube channel. So let's go over and get into your questions, comments, concerns. But our point today, quite simply, is don't overcomplicate it. If they start asking you a million different questions about the funding, think about what the salesperson would do at the Ferrari or at the Porsche or the BMW dealership. They're not going to get out of their lane. They're going to say, well, sir, ma'am, that's a great question. My job is to get you into the nice new Porsche 911 or BMW 7 Series, and then you'll work with our finance team for the financing. And so we provide your financing team. Now, if you want to do the financing, frankly, you can do that because you know that you can sell a Shelf Corp because we've divided it into 2 different phases. A client can get a Shelf Corp and not work with us on funding. Or, as I've shown, they can come get funding and not get a Shelf Corp. We've split it into 2 different steps. So if you want to do the funding, then just go do the funding, do all of it. Just use our Shelf Corps and you take care of the back end. But if you're using our funding, you're not burdened with it. And I think some of you are getting too bogged down with things that's not really your role. Okay, so let's dig into the questions, comments, concerns. All right, and Drake mentioned education, and so that's true. So with the education, we have a number of resources that's available to you, and so certainly helping us build financial literacy is great to do. The 27 mistake curriculum is a really good presentation to use, and you'll find that on the YouTube channel. But as far as our relationship, just focus on selling the Shelf Corp, and it'll make your life a lot simpler. Um, Similarly, so again, we have the buy versus build. So if they're going to buy a fundable business from you, that's called a Shelf Corp, and that's normally what we do. That's what's here. If they instead want help in building, we can help them build one, and that's what we call the 4-week funding program. Different program, buy versus build. This takes longer, it costs more, and there's more involvement, but I mean, it's still a great deal. It's just most people, they want fast and free and simple. All right, so let's go back to the notes and let's see. All right, so Christy asked if they already have a business address, and I guess I should go back to here. So yes, we provide a commercial address. So I'm going to expand Christie's question. What if they want to change the name of the business? Can they? Sure. What if they want to use a different address? Fine. What if they have a different business plan they want to use? Fine. I mean, so yeah, they're able to change whatever they want. We're going to deliver what we promised because that's the right thing to do. And then if they decide that they want us to help them, which most do, to go into the second phase, that's where we start making the changes and customization. Because there's already going to be an address for the Shelf Corp, Christie, but if they want to change it, fine. If they want to change the name, fine. And we can help them with all those things. But that's going to be, let's call this get funding / implementation, because in the first phase we're delivering the promises that were made in the Shelf Corp. So they're getting those documents, those resources, as we've talked about, and then either they're good to go on their own, or then we can work with them to implement. But you're not responsible for step number 2. You're paid from it, you're not responsible. All right, so that answers, I think, Christie's question about customization. Tasha's asking about funding cap. So if they're going to use our funding, we'll guarantee them a minimum of 100,000. And so that's stated here. It's stated in the contract. It's consistent. So the minimum is 100, just because if they're not looking for at least 100,000, it's kind of not worth our time or effort. But there's really no maximum. So we can go up to whatever they want, whatever they qualify for. Obviously, we're going to need to change the deliverables because the business plan doesn't say 5 million, it says 100,000 because that's what's guaranteed. But we can change the business plan, we can change the financials, we can change whatever is needed to qualify for a larger amount. So don't worry about some cap. There's not some cap or some maximum. Let's see. Kenny's asking about the old model, and so Kenny, I don't want to confuse everyone. So you're right, Kenny. Before June 1st, the grant reimbursed. Now we're using the advance allocation of the grant, so there's no reimbursement because it's paying for it up front. So I don't want to answer any questions here for everyone that could confuse them of the old model. All right. Drake says he needs help answering questions. Okay. Well, we have a support line that we use. So, Drake, if you have a question, you can either ask it right now, which would be really good because you're here and we're here. Also, we have the support line. But as far as questions, let's think about what questions they could have, Drake, because what are you doing? You're just providing them the fundable Shelf Corp. And you've got the agreement. It's in black and white. You've got a flyer that matches the terms of the agreement. You got a comparison sheet there's not a whole lot of questions I don't think that they can have. Now, this here was just a brief summary, just a bulleted list. But yeah, if they have a question that you need help with, let us know. Text us, and we're more than happy to get you a response. All right, I see Drake's confusing becoming a reseller, which was here. So, how much does it cost to become a reseller or grant coordinator? Zero. Zero. Cost zero now, cost zero later, no contract to sign. It's zero. I don't know what to say. It's zero. There's no cost. Now, if you want a landing page, you can either earn one or pay a refundable deposit. So we have a promotion that if you refer in two clients that enroll, they buy from you an Express Shelf Corp in the month of June, then we'll waive the deposit. Otherwise, you'd pay $1,000 deposit, and then we build this out, you use it, and then once you've referred in two clients, then you get it back. So yeah, you shouldn't be confused. There's a difference between just becoming a grant coordinator and using the tools and resources. Our goal is not to make money from you. What we've offered all of you, Drake and everyone else, is bring two clients in that sign up and pay, and we'll waive that refundable deposit. It's a great deal, but some people want it sooner than later. All right, Kenny asked, do we make those requests on our contract name or address? I don't know what that means, Kenny. You'll have to phrase that differently. Gary asked if the Opportunity Fund is still available. Yeah, of course, of course. And you're right, I didn't mention that, which I should have. But again, I'm counting on all of you to have a crystal clear knowledge of what's in the Shelf Corp. So when we're just having this loose discussion, it's a loose discussion. If you look at the contract, Gary and everyone else, it should be crystal clear. That's the purpose of an agreement. If you look at the Fundable Shelf Corp, what we call the Express Shelf Corp agreement, all of you have it. If you don't, you become a grant coordinator, we send it to you. That states what's included, right? That's the purpose of a contract. Here's what's included. And I kind of summarized it here, but you're right, I didn't mention access to the Opportunity Fund. But there should not be any questions, any disconnect, any variance in what you think or what the client thinks is included. It's in writing. It's a contract that we provide you an editable template of. So yeah, I don't want you to come here and ask me what's included if you're already with us, because it should be crystal clear. It's in the agreement. Now, you're right. If you want to add more things, you can add more things. Some of you are adding additional services, and that's up to you. And that's how you might be able to raise the price more and make more of a profit. Okay, Drake says no one said anything about a refundable deposit. Well, if you read the agreement, I didn't, that sounded harsh, Drake, but if you read the contract, so anyone that says, hey, I want the reseller marketing program, then what we normally you text us and then we send you the RMP agreement, right? And it says there's a refundable deposit on it, but we've said we'll waive it if you bring in two deals. I don't know what else to say, Drake. It's in the agreement. It's what we talk about. It's how it works. I don't know how to make it clear. I would always start with the agreement. If there's ever a lack of clarity, read the agreement. Read the agreement, because the agreement should tell you. Drake asked, how long does it take to get the landing page? Well, it depends, right? Are you going to pay the refundable deposit, or are you going to earn it by doing two deals, right? So that's going to be the first determining factor. We're getting caught up. We've got a bunch of these developed, and we're almost caught up. I think by tomorrow we'll be caught up. But yeah, if you pay for it today, Drake, I'm confident you'll have it tomorrow. All right. Jennifer's bringing up a great point. So, as a reseller, you edit the agreement, you remove our information and put yours on it. That's the concept of a reseller. It's like being a white label or a private label. So, anything with our information, take it off the marketing and agreement and put yours on. It's very simple. Anything with our information, take it off. Kenneth asked about the Opportunity Fund. Yep. So, Kenneth, you're more than welcome. You can come right over to 509 Pacific because the Opportunity Fund's the same as being a grant coordinator. So, Kenneth, if you need to plug into the cash flow, what we call earned income, come right over here. Because we had a quiz. Remember the quiz that we took on Friday? And Friday we talked about it. We quizzed you all and we had kind of a certification exam. And one of the things we talked about, what are the three economic benefits of getting a Shelf Corp? One is getting money for loans and financing, another of which is the AR, the accounts receivable, the collateral that can be liquidated, and the third is earned income. So, yeah, Kenneth, if you want to plug into the earned income, come right over here. But I think you're already a grant coordinator. All right, let's see. Yeah, and Drake, no worries. Just you got to keep it simple. Your role is to provide people a Shelf Corp, and then our team will work with them to get funding. If they want to work with us to get funding, we guarantee a minimum of 100,000. If they don't want to work with us for funding, then they can take the Shelf Corp and do whatever they want. Most people, 99%, will buy the Express Shelf Corp and then work with us on funding. Um, okay, so Mark's confused. So let's go back to it. Reseller and grant coordinator mean the same thing, just different terms, same thing. Opportunity fund is same thing. It's using this economic engine to get daily deposits. So it's all the same. It's all the same. All right. So Gary asks if he doesn't have the materials. Well, I don't know how you wouldn't have the materials because Gary, either you've came here and you filled this out or not. If not, you need to fill it out. And then we send you the implementation packet, Gary. And if we've not done that, you can always text us and say, hey guys, haven't received it yet. But that comes with the comparison sheet, the flyer, and the agreement. So those are the resources you'd need to go make a shitload of money. All right, let's see here. Mark asks, so am I to understand there's not as much collateral delivered? Oh, okay, okay, great, great. Yeah, so again, we'll close on this because we're running long. Please, please, please know what you're offering. And so our trainings are fine, but if you are a grant coordinator, a reseller, we've sent you 3 documents that tell the whole story. There's no secrets, right? So there's a flyer we sent you. The flyer's accurate. You can you should take our information off, put yours in, but there's resource one. The comparison grid, it's accurate. It's editable Word document, talks about what's included and provides a method for clients or prospective clients to compare. And then ultimately, there's the agreement. You all have to read the agreements. If you're coming here and expecting me to make sure that I cover everything, just like I forgot one of these bullets, look at the agreement, look at the flyer, look at the comparison grid. We provide those to you. That tells the full story. Here on these daily conversations, we're talking about different topics, but it's not meant to be orientation 101. Lamy asks about people with bad credit. We love people with bad credit, Lamy. So if you run into anyone that has bad credit, this is excellent for them. So bad credit is a big plus. If you can find anyone that has bad credit or anyone that's struggling financially, those are 2 criteria that make them a really good fit for this. Very good. All right, well, I think we've covered probably a lot, more than I expected. The point today is keep it simple. The role of a reseller slash grant coordinator is to do one thing: sell Shelf Corps. You pick the price. We've provided you the materials. You don't have to pay anything. That's what you do. You get paid for doing that. You pick how much you get paid on the front end, plus you get paid 5 points on the back end as long as you're using the RMP. The RMP comes with the landing page and the automations, but we need to have you in the RMP for the system to pay you commissions, right? Because we don't pay you on the front end. You collect directly from the client whatever you're charging on the front end. But on the back end, we're responsible for paying you. So we need to have you plugged into the system. The RMP is how we do that. Oh, do I have to pay money to get paid? No, I've already said we've got a promotion in the month of June. Bring in 2 clients and then we'll waive the refundable deposit. So it's not a gotcha, but you can either pay for it and get it right away, like Drake's going to do today, or you can bring in 2 deals that pay and then we'll waive that refundable deposit. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Bye bye.